99.3 Nigeria Info Lagos. Good morning to you. Welcome to the second part of Dailies today. I'm Sheriff Quadry.
And I'm Jimi. Disu. Good morning.
Okay. You can join the show virtually if you like to watch on your TV, on your smart TV. Just go to facebook.com/Nigeria Info FM or YouTube. Our channel there is Nigeria Info 99.3. You can watch us on either of the channels. Let's start with the Vanguard. What is this now? Why did they not mention? They should be,
it's our fault.
Nobody's keeping count now.
We should have. If we knew that this thing was going to go on like this,
Yeah.
then I do apologize. We should have marked it from day one, to say day one of commissioning, day two of commissioning, day three. Anyway, we're in day whatever it is of commissioning, and the party goes on. The party goes on.
Jamboree.
The jamboree. Today's advert with all the papers again, front page. It's called Wrap Around. Ask anybody who works in the newspaper industry. It's called Wrap Around. Some newspapers don't accept it. Yes, when I was marketing director of Next, as our first page was very sacrosanct, we wouldn't give it out for anybody. And I give Daily the credit. I miss working there. I was a marketing director. We don't. Our front page is sacred, but they have a wraparound in all the papers, and I don't blame the papers for taking them. Let me quickly add: it's good money, man. Very, very good money. So, whatever it is, today's own, we have President Tinubu commissions Ushafa Buhari Area Council roads today. I didn't put today there, and. The advert says, as usual, the Honorable Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Honorable Nyezinwo Nyeson Wike CON.
Put everything there.
And the usual picture, the president owns is the largest. The second largest is the minister, where he's looking dapper in a suit. But this photograph, he is about 10 years old.
No, I think that's a long.
You think that was when he left law school? It's an old picture. Then the Tintini one is that of the
99.3 Nigeria.
Apologies for that.
Yeah, the Tintini one is that of the Minister of State. And this is that His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, DCFR, from we say Wike needs to be corrected. It's now Sir, so it'll be President Sir Bola Ahmed Tinubu, DCFR, President Commander in Chief. Today is to commission the dualized and upgraded Ushafa to War College, Army Checkpoint Road, and other auxiliary roads in the Buhari Area Council. When this is going to end, only God knows, but heaven help us all. Meanwhile, the president is in St. Lucia, have you?
That's right.
That is in St. Lucia for 7 days, have you?
For 7 days, yes.
And yesterday was made Sabi.
Mm-hmm.
The real reason for going is still not known. All kinds of things are flying in the social media. What appears to be also is that apparently the president's closest business associate, who he acknowledged publicly at the commissioning of the new, what do they call that road?
Lagos
Calabar Road. Apparently is some ambassador, some whatever it is to this Lucia. It's not known whether he went along with him, but apparently all kinds of theories are flying around the social media. I don't want to delve into that this morning. But there's more than meets the eye in that trip. If anything at all, that the trip to a country like Lucia would take 7 days. A state trip would take 7 days. I haven't heard that happen in a while. I don't know which head of state will have gone to another country. I mean, it's not as if there's a meeting or whatever it is. A state visit will take 7 days. But these days we see kinds of things. But again, in the Vanguard, we said faces at yesterday's commissioning of the newly constructed connector, Road CN8, and so on and so forth. Because the president was not around, it appears he was, that was by Vice President Kashima, who it was said represented President Bola Tinubu. No, wait a minute. Minister of State for FCT, Dr. Maria Bunkure, Vice President Shetima, representing President Bola Tinubu, Nyesom Wiki and others. So it was a big event. You can see the tents, whatever, the people on the side rows. As we speak, the strike is still on.
The primary school strike.
The primary school strike is still on. And we are told that the Nyesom Wiki would meet with the workers' representatives on Thursday. He's too busy with this commissioning to attend to what I would have thought would be a more vital issue. And we thank him for making out time on Thursday out of his very busy schedule. We thank him for making out time on Thursday to now meet and determine the fate of both the workers and our children who are in school. Heaven help us all. Can we go to something more pleasurable?
I just would like to say one word, if you don't mind, sir. I think that...
If I say I mind, what will you then do?
And we'll move on.
Okay, I don't mind.
We'll move on.
I just wanted to...
I just would like to say that commissioning roads every day just simply underscores that we are not a serious country. We are not a thinking country. We don't know how to do business as a country because it's a waste of time, waste of money, waste of other resources that could have been channeled into governance. This is not governance, actually. This is wasteful spending, wasteful expedition. And it shouldn't be encouraged in whatever guise, or under whatever guise. Yes, he did it in Port Harcourt. That is in Port Harcourt. That is in Rivers State. But when it comes to a nation, when it comes to Nigeria, I think everybody should. Are we the only people that feel this way?
I beg to disagree. I wanted you to land. You look at it from a social and political problem. I think it's a medical problem.
It's a medical problem.
It's a medical problem. There's something that's just not right. And I think it's a medical problem. So trying to apply a social solution to it might not necessarily work. I suspect very strongly that it's a medical problem, and it is in that direction that should be looking, because certainly I find it, even talking about it on this kind of program is embarrassing and nauseating. You understand what I'm saying? You put a program together, everybody's on standstill, and this is the kind of things you'll be talking about. So for me, I think we should be headed in the medical area, and I think it's a medical problem. There is, like the Oyinbos will say, there is more than meets the eye. It is, I suspect it's a symptom of something that is not very pleasant to the ears. But we have to go on. We just have to go on.
Okay.
But my prediction still stands.
Yeah.
Prediction still stands.
We'll await that.
I'm counting the days.
We await that. Let's go to page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. Ibadan Poly students protest renaming of institution after Olunloyo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with these students all the way on this, and I thank them. One, I give credit to the students. They seem to have behaved themselves in an orderly manner, and they didn't allow the protest to be hijacked. But I think I would also like to thank the deputy governor, who approached them with a lot of understanding and maturity. In fact, I would almost say that he was sympathetic to their plight. So what is the problem? All of you know the Polytechnic in Ibadan. Okay, the Polytechnic had always been known as the Polytechnic. Olopoli, I remember the good days. You would do A-levels or you do HND, OND. It's always been known as the Polytechnic. Yaba Tech has always been known as Yaba Tech. This thing we have about wanting to rename things after... Why?
What's the obsession for? What do we gain from it?
See, the reason why I'm in support with the students 100% is I faced the same trauma. When I was in the other station, I woke up one day and somebody wanted to change University of Lagos to Moshood Abiola. Hey, war. And our politicians should look for something else to toy around with. Not institutions. Oxford University is Oxford University.
Simple.
Cambridge University is
Harvard
Cambridge
is Harvard.
University.
Yale is Yale.
Harvard is Harvard. Yale is Yale. We don't have tradition. See, Sheriff, about 15 years ago, I had an idea one day. And I said to myself, I want to go to my place of birth in Islington. So what did I do? Took a train, had the addresses in my birth certificate, had my address, and went to the place and stood opposite the house. And I sat down and imagined that. I looked at the architecture of the door. It must have been the same door in that house since 1955, when I was born. And anybody would tell you in the UK, if you want to as much as change your window, you need a permit. There is something to be said for tradition. These are the things that inspire people. When you say, oh, I went to Cambridge, how would I say Greater Cockite, I went to Unila. How would I say that I went to Motrud? So we must resist this thing about our politicians who want to name and rename, and you want to change history. And with the students on this, back in they should look for something else. What is done, what you will find, if they don't know, let's educate them. What you will find is that you could decide to build a hall or something within the university and then name it in honor of whoever.
Name a grant after him.
Yes.
Name a research lab after him. Name something else after him.
It's the same thing we did in Ikoyi one time, and there was, people were pandering to the sentiments of the people. We renamed all the streets in Ikoyi, whereas it's part of our history. Today, with Google Maps, I can't find my way around Ikoyi. What used to be Glover.
Yeah.
The only one we left was Bodilon. And we didn't name Bodilon, but we now gave a title to somebody and called him the Lion of Bodilon. We just don't want to. That's just a joke, really. So I'm with the students on this. And again, I'd like to commend the Deputy Governor, Bayo Lawal. Oh, I saw the video this morning and I was so happy. And it showed understanding. And he addressed them on behalf of the governor, calling for calm and assuring them. And he said, on behalf of the governor, I beg and admonish you that your demands will be placed before the governor, who is currently unavailable. Whenever he's back. You see, that's part of the problem. The governor is not available, he didn't hand over to the deputy. The deputy can't take a decision, and the decision needs to be taken. The Ibadan Poly will not be... by his grace, will not be Olunloyo, the likes of my friends Lanre Idowu and so on, all the guys who went to Poly. How would you say that? You see, I had that. Let me quickly add. I had that sentiment even when University of Ife, Great Ife, was named after Obafemi Awolowo University. But my hands were tied. Why? Because it was during Awolowo's tenure, and if you have ever been to the campus of University of Ife, it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece for it to have been built at that time. And it was a mark of honor. And it was understandable in the sense that he was the one who engineered both the existence and the building of the university. I must admit that University of Lagos, and structurally, Lagos, Ibadan, they don't compare to what you have in Ife. So it was understandable, and then everybody who went to Ife liked it. But the day they wanted to name University of Lagos, I remember it was Scholz. I was in Classic FM. It was Scholz that was on duty that day. I drove all the way from Sulele. I don't know how I found myself in the studio and put on the mic. I was infuriated. I kept going back and forth to the toilet. My eyes were red. Leave these things alone, politicians. You cannot rewrite history by naming things after. I don't even know, knowing the little bits that one knows of the late Governor Olunloyo, I don't think he would have been too pleased to hear that Poly was going to be named after him. Because he was also, in case you don't know, Sheriff, I think he was credited with being a mathematical genius.
Oh.
Yes. May his soul rest in peace. There are so many things you can name. You can name a boulevard. You can name streets. You can name all kinds of things. But for God's sake, Efi Poly ile. There's somewhere about the way they say it, Poly, Poly.
Poly Ibadan.
Poly Ibadan. And now you see that he went through. No. But when I saw the thing yesterday, I had a nostalgic feeling of one's and Luther days in the.
You know what's most exciting this morning in this analysis is that you admitted that Ife is.
So now he's an architectural genius. So
Unilag doesn't come close.
No, he doesn't. I tell the truth. However,
no, there's no however.
However, but one of the things that hurts me is that I never appreciated the man when he was alive. Just because I had a rebel streak. That so what? Because of all the whatever, I just decided to look in the other direction. But if you see the things that do you know the Western region had a TV station before some other countries in the Western world? Do you know Nigeria had color TV? This was Obasanjo's doing before the United Kingdom.
Oh, no, what?
Check it. You don't know the country you are living in. Those of us who know where we are now and where we were before.
Color TV or TV?
We had color TV in Nigeria before the UK. What was WNTV called? The first in Africa. The people who have taken over this country don't have a sense of history. They don't have a sense of appreciation. They don't even have a sense of pride. Nigeria has become a beggarly nation, looking like a nation of scams, looking like a nation. Okay, so if you have a foreigner, he's been here for the last 20 days. He buys papers every day, and then what he sees every day is that you are commissioning this road bypass, upgraded road to this one, dualized road. What do you think he will think of Nigerians? And the same people who are doing this are on strike in the same city. And the person in charge will address the strike that includes sending a school time for children. After he's busy with all this commissioning, we'll now have time on Thursday. And the strike has been on for close to 2 weeks. Come on. Don't upset me this morning.
2 months.
So don't upset me this morning. As it is, I'm hungry. I don't know what I'm going to
I'm glad that you mentioned Awolowo. So we were putting together debate topics for the Tournament of Champions, I beg to differ. It's coming up in August next month. And there was a topic that surfaced about the founding fathers of Nigeria. And we were arguing about, whether to praise the founding fathers of Nigeria, for Nigeria situation, or to put a topic that would allow the children to go and do their research to ask whether the founding fathers of the country did well in terms of handing over Nigeria to those people they handed Nigeria over to.
Okay, so I used to debate in school. Okay, I used to debate in school myself for Ladiola for MBA chairs, and Nadia I think was for. There was somebody that I feared most. Her name was Juliana Dopolo. She was first of all in Holy Child, and she went to Queen's College. She beat all of us silly. Oshibajo too, used to debate in the movie. So I mean, I'm familiar with debate, this debate thing. And I'm asking one question. You ask me a question, and I ask you a question. Where will they find the materials? The history of Nigeria has not been well documented. What you have now in the curriculum and some of the books that you see and some of the books that are coming up is tainted history.
People telling their own side.
And propaganda. We don't have any institution where you can go, and if you go to some other countries, no matter how bad it is, no matter how indicted the country is, it is there documented for the future because they want to learn from those mistakes. We always like to hide the truth. And it's an African thing. That is why Africa has not progressed. A lot of people die with the knowledge that they have. If you notice, if you heard what our forefathers did in those days, For instance, our forefathers haven't told us, they didn't tell us so well how they were able to sit in Africa here and find themselves in a land full of white people, astral travel and all that. They always die with the knowledge. So I ask myself, what if I'm the principal of a school, my school is going to take part in a beg to differ, you give me this kind of subject, where do I go? Is it the National Library? Answer me now. Is it the National Library? If I Google has been tainted. If you go to Wikipedia,
it's whatever anybody puts there.
It's whatever anybody puts there. So we do have a big problem, and that's why going forward will be very difficult for us in this country. What you do have is people like us who are pained, who have seen a bit, and it's a very small bit of the past, and see where we are headed, and we are not thoroughly appreciated. Rather, people who don't know any, and that is the most painful part is those who don't have a sense of what we are talking about, contributing to public discourse. But that's why, I'm virtually off the social media. I don't have time to argue with people who don't know what they're talking about.
Now let's go to the metro pages of the Guardian and the Trust.
Okay, let's quickly go through this one. Yoruba Ronu candidates exit mirrors APC's internal crisis. The Yoruba Ronu group have said that the Ganduje's exit, it shows that there's internal crisis in the APC, and I couldn't agree more. Ondo government's quest to probe Akeredolu's death sparks controversy, and I wonder why the government is doing this. I thought it was well known that he was ill. It was well known that he had cancer of the blood. Why they want to exhume the body, I honestly don't know. But unless there's more than meets the eye, the government should really explain to us why they want to do all this. And it's not as if somebody is trying to get back at his widow, Betty, who herself has not behaved too well since Akeredolu died in certain areas. There's crisis in Owo now as we speak, because of that careless statement she made by calling the Oba a baby Oba. I don't know where she got that from. I think that it's important that the elders wade in, even at federal level, they wade in very, very quickly, very, very quickly to nip the crisis on the board. Because you see, Betty is not Yoruba. That's where the problem also lies. She's from the east, and we don't want this thing to degenerate. Those of us who are Akiti's friends, we don't want it to degenerate to where it would lead to a crisis in that area. Things like this that look like a little pimple can become a cancer if not well handled. So we'd like, I think, very, very quickly at federal level, there might be a need to step in. Also in the Metro News, Lagos begins crackdown on single-use plastic and pollution concerns. Lagos Commissioner of Police assures safety despite residents' harassment complaints. What else do we have? Here in the trust? In the trust strike. This is it. Wike FCT Council Chairman to meet Labour leaders on Thursday. He is busy with commissioning. Man sentenced to 25 years for defiling daughter. There is a lot of this around, Sheriff, and I wonder what is going on. Defiling daughter, defiling kids. I saw in the social media there's one girl, I think she's about 8 or 9, who's pregnant.
Oh my word!
Yes, a child is pregnant. So that's one. What else is there? Police arrest one chance gang in Delta, and what else do you have? Okay, now there's this story here. It says that this is from the Guardian, that the social media is divided as Nigeria embarks on bicycle trip. One gentleman says he wants to go on a bike all the way to America. By the way, my good friend DB has taken off from Europe. I think he's somewhere. He's about to get into Portugal today or so. I might take out 10 minutes of Diabome this morning and see if we can talk to him live and find out at the very least, if he's he's a 69-year-old who says that he wants to ride from Europe here. So there's this other guy now, Imalayiam, probably known as Emmy Walks, from Benue State, and he has sparked off the debate because he says he has an ambition to go on bicycle from here to the United States. I didn't say motorbike, keke.
It's all right.
Is that possible?
Well, I want to believe that he's
he might as well say he wants to walk.
All right, that's where we'll leave it for this morning. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Okay,
but you're back at 9.
Yes.
All right, Lagos, thank you for being a part of this. Stay here for what's his name now? Kofi Battels. Yeah, for the continuation of the morning crossfire. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to you, Lagos.
Through school, the artisans grinding every day to earn their urgent 2K, to the farmers.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates